Anthony Fantano, internet's busiest music here. The needle drop. Hi everyone, it's time for a review. Thanks for watching. Dumbo Gets Mad. Quantum Leap. Dumbo Gets Mad is a psychedelic pop project that originates from Italy. You may remember it from a few years ago through the album Elephants at the Door. Not only were there some really awesome influences coming from what felt like schmaltzy, corny organ pop music, as well as Gorillaz, Flaming Lips, psychedelic rock, garage rock, dance music too, because there's some awesome hip-shaking beats on this album. And I liked that even though this album could also be very dense and overwhelming sonically, it never really quite lost view of its pop sensibility. Now this is Dumbo Gets Mad's sophomore full-length LP, Quantum Leap. And of course, because I liked the debut so much and was so impressed with how awesome it was, or at least the project was right out of the gate, I mean, I guess I expected a lot from this. I mean, I guess in a way I was looking for a more consistent full-length LP, one that was showcasing some better production maybe, a more potent style. Maybe Dumbo Gets Mad could develop, I guess, sort of a way to make itself as a psychedelic project stick out past the ranks of other psychedelic music projects out there right now. For psychedelic music, Dumbo Gets Mad is extremely playful, and at times I would say on this LP, even bordering on absurd, with all sorts of zany, crazy falsetto vocals that don't really feel like they're worried about how they sound execution-wise at all. Just sort of getting this crazy vibe coming from them seems to be the most important thing. At times, the instrumentation feels a little goofy, slap bass lines, schmaltzy organ sounds, and a lot of the drum breaks and sequences on this LP are extremely, extremely funky. I would say even funkier than the last album. I mean, if you loved a lot of the grooves on the tracks from Elephants at the Door, Quantum Leap definitely brings that attitude even more. Like the song American Day, which to me has one of the better choruses on this entire LP. With American Day, just like any other one, it's a catchy hook. The song also has this awesome bass part where it kind of feels like it's in this constant state of soloing. And I love the ascending climax at the end of the track. It's a big finish, but the vocals that are kind of swirling, just I guess sort of swimming, backstroking through all of this atmosphere are just, in my opinion, kind of ridiculous. They sound obscured as if they were, I guess, sort of meant to be hidden because they're not all that well performed, which I guess I could understand because vocals have never really been the strongest weapon in Dumbo Gets Mad's arsenal. But I still like the sounds on that track. But I love the sounds on the track South Africa even more. There's a really boomy drum break that kicks this song off. There's a harp at the beginning, a jazz flute. Like some of the great moments from Dumbo Gets Mad's debut LP, this song just feels like swimming thousands of leagues underwater in a sea of Hawaiian Punch. The project gets a little more diverse with tracks like Indian Food, which has this sweet, sharp Indian melody coming through on what feels like, I don't know, like a fiddle or like some kind of reed instrument, though that's really the only Indian thing about the entire track. There's this awesomely soulful vocal that kind of leads the song way more soulful than I'm usually used to hearing from Dumbo Gets Mad. Of course, a really awesome funky drum break is paired with this track. The diversity continues with the track Male Ducato, hope I'm pronouncing that correctly. It's a bit of Spanish guitar with bongos, vibraphone. It's really one of the most instrumentally striking moments that Dumbo Gets Mad has pulled together on this entire LP. It's so beautiful, I wonder why there aren't more moments like this on the entire album, because so many of the tracks on here just come together in such a cacophonous way that I guess it sort of feels a little bland or uneventful after a while. Because Dumbo Gets Mad isn't really a full band and is really just kind of a studio project, a lot of these jams that the songs venture on kind of lose their momentum and lose their flavor after a while, because you're not really hearing this, you know, live instrumentation interaction or anything like that. It just kind of feels like maybe a slightly missed opportunity for Dumbo Gets Mad to have all these tracks that kind of lose their flavor after a little while, when there's this one song on here under the 2-minute mark that is so impressive and shows this extreme knack for being able to orchestrate. Orchestration isn't really the goal on a lot of these tracks. tracks, I guess. Dumbo Gets Mad is kind of content to maybe just kind of throw those guitars and synths out there along with the drum break and just kind of let the chips fall where they may, with a little bit of experimentation here and there, like on the track Tahiti Hungry Jungle, which has, rapping on it due to the fact that it is an Azealia Banks medley. And the rapping is, a little weak, a bit ridiculous at times, though it does kind of work. There is this very, like the title would suggest, jungle-esque garage rock romping beat in the background, kind of giving things that Amazonian feel. But the song is kind of back-ended with this really sort of weak, messy guitar solo that does nothing for me. The song Bam Bam has this awesomely kind of Japanese pop sort of feel to it, mixed together with Dumbo Gets Mad's typical watery, psychedelic, poppy sound that is actually really pleasing to the ear. The song Cougar is one of the zaniest on here and has this weird slap bass line, really sharp guitars. It's not really my favorite track on here because it meanders like a lot of others on here and has goofy vocals, but strangely enough, it kind of reminds me of like this stylistic crossroads of the B-52s, female post-punk outfits like Delta 5. But then on top of that, there's all sorts of weird chipmunk vocals in there, along with Dumbo Gets Mad's usual psychedelic pop stylings. Like that song, Dumbo Gets Mad does a really great job of pulling together a sound, pulling together a vibe, but the songwriting is maybe a little too repetitive or basic, or maybe the chorus and the verse don't really have that much of a difference between one another, and it kind of makes me feel a little let down in a way. Songs like Before Kiddo's Death, which has a strong sort of surf rock vibe to it, or The House of Love, or the closing track on here, Punch and Tea. Unfortunately, I was really just kind of feeling like this album was a mixed bag for me. There were a handful of tracks on here that I thought were fantastic, a few others that I felt like kind of fell into place with something very kind of comfortable and safe for Dumbo Gets Mad. And then there are songs where Dumbo Gets Mad takes some real risks, tries to experiment, but it just doesn't end up appealing to me because it seems so, I guess, weakly executed that it just makes me cringe a little bit. I don't necessarily feel disheartened because I feel like Dumbo Gets Mad certainly put its all into this album and made the sincere effort to diversify the sound that this project has going, which so many artists that have a successful debut album kind of forget to do. I'm feeling a light decent 6 on this LP. If you've given it a listen, what did you think of it? Did you love it? Did you hate it? Why? And what do you think I should review next? Anthony Fantano, Dumbo Gets Mad, forever.